third legs at orange standard. That's about a standard for a 14-year-old, and one of the legs is a little bit easier. That's the third one, which is about a standard for a 12-year-old. Is kind of the easiest way to describe it. We've got about 140 teams all lining up here. We're quite amused by the decision to line them up in the arena, because the way they're all looking, there's quite a narrow gap they've got to get through, and they're going to, I think, walk them through and have almost like a flying starts basically for this relay. That's what we think is going to happen, but it could be all elbows out, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can see this car there with the flags, and I think they will just drive out with it slowly, and it's kind of as if they have it in cycle at Tour de France or any other bigger cycling competition, that they will just keep behind until they open the race, and then you're allowed to take over the other runners and really get on the course here.
So we've got, juniors of different ages in here, but everybody, really probably excited to be able to represent their club. You can see that we've got less than a minute now to go till the start. Some nerves happening as well, but how excited are all these juniors going to be?
They are really excited. I mean, they're not only excited, they're nervous as well. I mean, it's a Tiomila weekend. They have all been working towards it. It's like the thing you talked about in every club training during the winter, and now they have the chance to open this whole weekend. They are the first ones on the map. It's really an exciting thing for the youth runners here.
And as the final seconds count down, the music has really ramped up inside this arena. We've got people. I'm not sure people are going to get any GPS satellites in here. They're going to be walked through. You go, someone already...
It's a strange thing. You had to start with like the pistol, the shot, but they still have to wait here behind this car. Make the way out. Of course, this makes sense because you can see it's very narrow here. If you have to head out there, and everyone is running towards this narrow exit, it's that wouldn't be a good start into this week.
So nobody's allowed to overtake still. Yeah, they're being walked out into the bright sunshine. It is a gorgeous sunny day today. I think it's going to be actually quite warm, mid-20s maybe as well as they get in, and they have to go and just jog behind the starting car. Here's the view, and they are off. There we go. They're able to head out, and of course, there we go, 1093 straight to the front, looking good.
That's the best thing with both youth and junior starts. You see how dedicated they are here. It's really... I would even call it overpacing for a few of the teams, but of course it's something they're not very experienced relay runners, and it's something you have to learn to really take your time to read the map in the beginning. You don't have to be the leader at the starting point.
There is some glory though in being the leader at the starting point.
Of course it is, and I wouldn't say I haven't been there and done that as well. I still do it every now and then, but I'm not fast enough anymore.
So they've got this little run out then here towards the start control before the orienteering properly happens. But it's, maybe some of these youth will have done some regional relays before, whatever. But if this is your first time doing Tiomila, what must the atmosphere be like as we see all these runners around this corner? If you're in the middle of this pack, it's got to be cool. Yeah,
it's very cool. You see, it's one thing to be, they're starting in this hockey rink, in this hockey arena. It's something with the atmosphere. You see all the spectators here, the whole club travel together to this competition. So it's one thing is the relay itself. And the other thing is really that you're there as one big club. You're one community, and everyone supports you. Everyone asks you before the race how you're doing, and that's of course not a situation you're used to from this smaller competition where everyone travels there by him or herself, and it's just a special feeling. And I think it makes a few of the runners even more nervous. You can also see like the differences in age only in this. A few of them are 16. They're maybe quite experienced already on national level. Others are like 12 in the relay. You have to take care on each other. It's very, very special. And of course, it's so nervous to run something like this. And now you can see, I wasn't wrong with overpacing, but he won the competition to the start. You can also see that there's still a bit snow left in the forest. Of course, there have been skiing tracks, so when it was hard packed, it makes it. You can see this is actually a ski hill. But you have also, like in shadowy places in the forest, you can have a few meters with snow every now and then. So it has been very cold until just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I was chatting to someone who lives around here on my way from the airport, and he was saying that, yeah, Skellefteå has had loads of snow this winter, and it only really started melting like 2 weeks ago, and suddenly we had 2 weeks of like 20 degrees, and the snow's all just melted all really quickly, apart from those bits on the Alpine hill there.
You can also, when you're out in the forest, you can really feel it, because you have these blueberries all over the place, but you can see that they're still pressed down to the ground, because there was the snow lying for a long time. So it's not, I mean, it's...
Yeah, we're only in the third week of spring, so that's the stuff has started to have a chance to actually start growing again after the winter.
Yeah, of course. And it makes it the runnability a bit better. On the other hand, I mean, we have a very late Tio Mila. We have, I think it's the second latest ever, because usually it's in the beginning of May. And but the difference is not very big, because we are so far north, so the vegetation hasn't had time to grow up. So it's you're more into the season as you usually are. But vegetation-wise, it doesn't really matter because we're so far north.
Yeah, exactly. And just this shot here from our running cameras as they all head off the tracks into the forest, you can really get a sense of what the terrain kind of looks like. And I guess they were running on what is, cross-country skiing tracks when it snows, and, you can see that they're able to now get a sense of what it is like going up this hill. So we don't have any GPS tracking, we think, on these youth. I mean, the stress of having to have a GPS tracker is like, and to add to the picture would be a lot, but we're just gonna see who we see first at the controls and talk about that.
It's probably enough stress for the runners to know that there are camera positions and that this race is broadcasted. And I mean, no youth relay ever in maybe Jukkola or like a big, but I mean, there are no other competitions where you have cameras out in the forest, and that's also a totally new situation. So I think, we see elite runners struggling with that when they approach the control. They run towards the camera first, and they are very experienced with that situation. And here we have runners, they might face this situation for the very first time in their life. So it's so incredibly special, also with running cams and everything. They get the full package.
They can hear the drone, probably, right? They can hear the drone. They've got all the runners around them. Then they've got maybe photographers in the forest. They've got fixed cameras. They've got these running cameras as well, and they're all trying to race for their lives as well.
And I really like this situation. It's all focus on this youth relay, because of course also teams from later the day will watch this, because you can get a glimpse from the terrain. I mean, you see some pictures here, maybe how the vegetation is. Of course, you have had a map to prepare, but it's always, you want to get some of the atmosphere, so many runners will follow it, and it's very special for the youth runners.
Yeah, so a lot of parents maybe anxiously watching from the arena, other club members. You've maybe got some of the later leg runners warming up as well.
Who's more nervous, the parents or the runners?
Oh, the parents.
Yeah, of course.
As someone who knows quite a lot of parents of junior orienteers, I remember, so Grace Malloy, who's running the women's elite team, her mum became British champion this year. She thinks it's because it was the first time her kids weren't also running at the British Championships, and she wasn't getting nervous about were they going to have a good run and get selected or not get selected at stuff. So, and even if it goes from, are my kids going to make it out of the forest, are they going to get lost, or are they going to do pretty good?
The first punches here.
Halden, yeah. Czech team is 10:37, Fredrikstad. Well, so this course is 3.9 kilometers. And this is at 1.3. We're expecting the winning time today of this leg about 24 minutes. Wow, so it's a mixed team that's leading, I think.
We can see there's really many teams still together here. I mean, it's the same as in any other relay, it's very important to keep in touch here on the first leg. I mean, for the runners here, we have the winners from last year, Mayona. But it's important to keep in contact. It's important to not do any bigger mistakes, but you don't have to lead the race here. You can see that there are 25 teams within 35 seconds. So it's one thing that's definitely different here compared to the other relays we're used to watch when we followed like the elite runners, is that the difference in how good the runners are is very big. And I mean, there are nerves playing into this. I mean, I think we can see many changes in the lead here, and that makes it even more...
And this is by far the hardest to predict.
Yeah, of course. And it makes it even more important to just be there, up there, not do any mistakes. You still are within 1 or 2 minutes here. Yeah, things will happen throughout the competition. So it's just don't lose too much time and keep in contact. And if you lose 1 or 2 minutes, that's not the world. You're still able to end up in a good result. I mean, last year we had a team that was winning Göteborg Majorna. They were far behind on 23rd position before the last leg, and then they had a really good run on the last leg, and they went all the way. So
I mean, it's like a combination of everything. Orienteering, unpredictable, anything can happen. Relay, even more unpredictable, anything can happen. And then you add in the youth aspect of it as well, and it just gets even more unpredictable. But they're about over half the teams through in 1 minute 22.
And it's even one more aspect. I mean, when we follow other elite races, we know that they know each other, so they know how good the other teams are. Here in this relay, they might never heard of any of the runners just to the left or to the right of them. So it's very hard to know how good the other teams are. It's very hard. You can't just follow the running shirt of Kalevandrasti because you know that Kalevandrasti always has a good team, as you can maybe have in the women's relay or in the men's relay later on. So it's you really have to trust yourself and maybe take some advantage of the others, but it's a totally different kind of race.
Load more of the runners then through.
Almost 100 teams. What did you say how many teams we had at the start list?
Well, the start list on Eventor says 145 teams. So there's some teams that don't have any runners declared in there. So let's go with 140.
And we see we have almost 100 teams within 2 minutes. So it's very good.
And these graphics are delayed as well, so we've had more than 100 teams through in the picture that we've seen as well. So that's pretty good. And in fact, I think we're nearly going to get through to the second split time as well, which will come at about 2.3 kilometers. So we'll see the next teams through there, and then it's 3.9 kilometers is the whole thing. And there are forkings on this one. It's only leg 3 that doesn't have any forking. And of course those, the team members will have been briefed well on that. But as you can see, there is the mixed team that is currently in the lead as well. So it's very, very early days at the moment.
You can see there's basically it's just one big group for the 100 first runners. But I mean, we have the split time after 1.3 kilometers. It's not a very big distance. Of course, they're still quite close together. And you could also see that the visibility is so good that if you have like a forking that's with 2 different controls, it's quite likely that you end up sooner or later at your control as well. But you have to do the job, and everyone seems to have done it very well here.
Yep, it seems to be pretty good. And then how many teams do you think will have 2 runners on this second leg? How will these teams kind of be set up with it's hard to say at the moment, but what maybe are the advantages or disadvantages of maybe having 2 runners on that second leg?
The thing is, basically, I think the whole calculation at the beginning is that everyone who wants to run should be able to run.
Yeah.
So if you have a big club, I think you will just put 2 runners on all of them, just in order to fill up the teams.
Yeah.
I think that's like the basic approach. It's not really the thinking of the coaches here or the ones set together teams to really or very few teams will have to focus that we want to have 3 teams that are as good as possible. But let's take them to the second radio.
Leaders, I think, then. There we go. Czech West, that team. So these are the first 2 runners then, I think. Is that a Spanish top?
Yeah, hard. No, you're really...
No, I'm really confused now.
You're putting me on thin ice here.
But
we can
these 2 teams actually, so these were the 2 leading teams at the first leg, albeit in the other order, but now there is a gap, you're right.
And I mean, we already have a Czech team in quite, I think, ending on the 2nd position last year. So we know that they have kind of a tradition of good youth teams at this Tiomila relay. So maybe not that surprising, but it's a different one this time. But this is definitely a gap.
This is quite a significant gap. This is nearly a minute, or it will be a minute by the time they get to the control. That's a big gap. Emma Boda there. And the time difference is 54.
Fredrik Atunda, Tur, I think it was. Yes, indeed. And now it's the big group coming here.
Yeah, now you get your elbows out.
Yeah, you can see it's the same. Maybe the positioning of the control is not very. You should turn it 90 degrees, and then you would have 2 devices you could punch from.
And especially because it's manual punching and not touch-free either.
Yeah, exactly. I'd see they have to get used to that. They will face that in a few years in the when they're running the elite relay as well. It's hard to avoid, but this one here, you just turn it 90 degrees, you would have a lot of less struggles.
I think it was 3 teams from Sundsvall through in about 10 runners.
We had the winners from last year again, about 2 minutes behind.
I mean, that's very impressive to get that gap of a minute.
Yeah. That's really good. I mean, you see how many runners there are. It's a short course. They've been running for 2.3 kilometers, and they were together after 1.3 kilometers. So it's on 1 kilometer making a gap of 1 minute. But as you said, I mean, a lot of things can happen.
Well, yes, they might have gone very cleanly, and then like a whole group made a mess of the next control.
It's not even, they don't even need to do a big mistake. If they are out of sight and you do some hesitations at 1 or 2 controls, maybe someone needs to stop. I mean, you have a lot more of this stop and go when you're, of course, when you're in your youth age, and then it just opens a gap. But it will be interesting later in the 2nd and 3rd leg when we have this parallel running. Maybe the runners are a bit younger there as well. I'm sure we will see changes throughout the relay. I'm sure it won't be just 2 teams running away at the top.
Yeah, I expect everything to change again completely. And I'm just gonna look, there's loads more teams warming up back at the arena, running around in pairs in their little club groups.
We will almost double the number of the runners on the 2nd leg because we have this parallel leg.
Yeah.
Of course, not everyone will have 2 runners there, but most of the teams, or many of the teams, will take this chance to put 2 of the runners on the 2nd leg. Now we have the pictures here.
And in fact, there's a, I mean, we are in an ice hockey arena, so there is a big kind of screen, like square shape in the middle of there, of the arena, which of course all the spectators can look at, and so that means that all of these juniors can see themselves on the telly as well.
It's kind of bit of a pity that we have so good weather, because now everyone wants to follow the race outside, and it would be a very good atmosphere if the spectators would be inside. But I mean, you can't blame them. It's really, really nice weather today. You can see it here. Coming down
1037, that's the Czech team, Czech West O team.
Yeah, there is the mixed team we had from Norway,
Jakub Stelik.
And I mean, that's also something we see here in this youth relay. We have many mixed teams. Of course, if you think about the elite relays, then it's kind of this concentration towards the top teams. So the top teams will always fill their teams, and then you have this 1 team per club. But here, I mean, the youth runners, they stay in their mother club. They stay in the local club, and then of course there is a risk that you don't have the possibility to fill up your team with just one club relay. So that's why you have so many mixed teams in this. You still have those two runners, a bit of a gap between the Czech team and the Norwegian mixed team. We're waiting. We know that there was about a minute of a gap between those runners, and we're looking out to this skiing hill. Here they come.
Yeah, coming from different directions as well, maybe?
Up to the third position. I think this is Kofun Örebro. Not 100% sure. Could be some other. I mean, we have different choices we have to be looking at now. I can be totally wrong, of course. Yeah, I see.
And now you can see on the progress bar at the bottom of the screen that we're pretty much at the end of this leg as well. So and now
and it's a long run in from the second and last control to the arena. Of course, you have to go. It's kind of in this. It's almost an industrial area here, or just around the hockey arena. You can see there is some parking lots. There are a lot of buildings around, so you have to take a few meters from the forest, and here he enters after a brilliant first leg.
Yeah, and the noise I can say in this arena as the winner of the first leg comes through into the finish. It's just incredibly exciting. So it's the Czech runner Jakub Stelik is going to go and hand over to his teammate. I tell you what, there's a bit of a hairpin bend on that finish, but he's going to punch the actual finish control, then has to turn right, is going to go and pick up his teammate's map, bin his old map first, go and pick up his teammate's map. He's got to figure out which one it is. There we go, and hand it over to his teammate who is waiting there. There we go, that's the first team through.
And we also have the second team, it's the mixed team, I think. Karl Oraug Rug from Norway for Halden IL and Songdalen OK.
So you can see he was given two maps but has discarded one because there's only one runner. Again, the same for the second team.
What was he doing? Yeah, of course, it's only one map,
Yeah, only one map. So he only gave one, handed over the one map.
And he gave the one without the plastic.
I think they were both in plastic.
You can see a difference here. They have to do some learnings towards usually you turn your map so that the runner after you can read the start number. I haven't seen that yet.
So double check that they've got the right map, right?
Of course. So usually that's something you learn quite early, but maybe, they have some years to go until they have to be able to do those things.
So you can see everybody looking for their incoming runner now, just making sure they've got the right map, as we've got 15 teams changed over already after this first leg. 3 more legs to go. And of course, this one is one where you can have 2 runners. So those 2 runners could go together, or they could also go parallel, so they could both run at their own pace. Maybe you want to put one safe runner, you want to put one runner who could be very fast but also make a big mistake, and see who comes back first. But loads more runners then heading out into the terrain. They'll do the changeover, and then they've got to go out through the passage out of the arena, and they've got a good old long run out to the start again. And I know a lot of juniors actually kind of prefer to run the long leg, because then they know what time they're going to run the first leg, because then they know what time they're going to start. There's always a little bit of nervousness, to the start of all of the other legs, when you don't know exactly when your runner's going to come in. You've got to wait. You don't know quite what is going to happen. But I tell you what, that was a speedy first leg. 19 minutes and 45 seconds. That is way quicker than the organisers were expecting. We were given in when the bulletin, it said 24 minutes, and it's only taken them 19:45.
I mean, if you take the average speed per kilometer, it's a really good time.
Yeah.
Even if
a lot of it is running out of this arena and running back.
Yeah, of course, but it's a youth relay, and it's a really speedy race. And a few of this, we're talking about the 16-year-olds. We'll also see them in the men's relay later on, or in the elite relay.
Yeah.
So there are a few very, very, very talented runners here, and they are able to put some high-speed orienteering on here.
but there's some of the club mates, they have just put up a big cheer when they saw their runners come into the finish here. So they're really ready. Some of the runners just making sure they get exactly the right map. There's loads of officials there to make sure it's all done correctly. It's obviously a big, an extra part of stress that you don't have normally in an individual race, that obviously every team wants to get exactly right. Here we have more of the handover as well. 65 teams through now in only 3 minutes difference. It's so close.
You can also see that the winners from last year, 3.5 minutes behind. Göteborg Majorna, the first team.
So now we're nearly at 24 minutes of running, and we have, I think there's a couple of teams looking for their teammate as well. And then they go back out to do the download as well. There we go. And at this point, this is probably a different question I'm going to ask at different times throughout today. It's what information do you give to the outgoing runner? Do you give any information on this line, or do you just say, good luck, run?
Here it's very, there are different kind of situations. The one you change over to, there's very little information you hand over. There's you don't want to stand there and usually you just say good luck, you just say enjoy or whatever. It's hard, you don't want to transfer any bigger emotions, because the other, of course, the runner after you doesn't want to get too much information about that. Maybe you had a bad race, you don't want to be influenced by that. But the more interesting question is, what information will the first leg runner hand over to the third leg runner and the fourth leg runner? And it's very different how we handle this. In the U3 relay, I can imagine that the information just kind of flows from, it's just getting out of the mouth, and you get all the information is quite unfiltered. Later on, if you have, it's a very good thing to talk about before. What information do you want to get from the runners before? Usually that's kind of a standard in elite orienteering, is that you decide that it's the runner after that asks questions, and the one that has been running shouldn't just talk about his or her run. So usually it's you ask the questions and you get the answers, and try to leave the emotions out. Because if you say it was a shit race, it was very green, that's something very individual. Maybe someone else who had a good run doesn't experience like this, and it's an information that doesn't help you at all.
Yeah.
So it's kind of asked, was it as we prepared? Was it green, or how was the runnability? Was it rocky? Was it steep? Were there many forkings? When were the forkings? That's really questions you can ask, but let the runner after you ask them.
Here's a recap then of the changeover and the gap of 24 seconds between Team 1 and Team 2. But these young people will have been building up to this race all winter. This will be dominating the chat in the clubhouse, right?
It's the same thing. It doesn't matter, no matter of age. You're training. It's you really gather at the clubhouse. Many of these Scandinavian clubs, they have clubhouses, and it's the meeting point. It's not only the meeting point for your training, it's also kind of the meeting point for your social life. So you meet there once or twice a week. Even the youth runners meet once or twice a week, and then you have your training, and then you stay there and you eat some food afterwards. It's very social, it's a community. And of course you start to be a group, you start talking about this relay, you have a goal you're working towards at the trainings, and then you start to speculate about the setup of your teams, you start to speculate about the setup of other teams, maybe you have other teams in your city or just around that you're always
planning
training.
the face paints.
Yeah, exactly. And then it builds up, and then you get this community, you get this goal already as a young runner, and it's something really nice, and it motivates you a lot.
Yeah, you know, as someone who orientates in the UK, we don't have clubhouses, and a lot of other places in
We
Europe.
don't have that in Switzerland
exactly,
either.
right? It's not a thing. But having been to some club training in Sundsvall, like going to that clubhouse, having some snacks, having some fika afterwards, you know, you just get the sense of how everybody, it is such a big social thing. And we've actually, I think, already seen a team through here. Yes, we have
here.
indeed.
Still the Czech team. Albert Blevny in the lead. I think this is Helsingin soon, is there yet? Yes, indeed. And Halden. It's the mixed team.
Yeah.
So now it's the Halden runner on this leg. Ville Wingstedt. Very famous name in orienteering. At least the surname.
Yeah, he's actually done a few competitions in the UK. This spring.
Stora Tuna from Finland, then Sunta Iveskilä, so from Finland, then Stora Tuna from Sweden. Linda. We got these runners all within a minute. See that it starts to spread out a little bit. Get them from kind of a little bit different directions here. Maybe future forcing, maybe just some micro route choices we'll probably never get to know because we don't see any maps here. No. And of course, I mean, the fact that we don't see any maps also has to do with the fact that we don't want to pass any information towards the elite relays later on today.
Do their maps get collected in after their runs, or are you able to keep them? Are they
actually, I'm not 100% sure about it. Yeah, maybe. I mean, they had it over. I mean, you definitely the first three runners they leave the map at the changeover.
Yeah.
And then.
Oh, well, they put them in the the box. So yeah, so they
maybe,
collect them
but
in.
I'm not sure about the last leg runner. But I mean, yeah, as you can imagine, I mean, they're just around 3 kilometers of running distance. They don't get very far. Everyone knows that the competition will be in that part of the forest close to the Finnish arena, so it's I actually don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, there's limited information we're gonna the women's and men's teams are gonna be able to glean, and very soon I'm sure we'll have the next leaders at the second TV control.
And of course, I mean, you have teams with 2 runners here. So not everyone punching here is getting into the result list. Because if you had the runner before, then you won't add any more punch to the result lists.
Yeah, and of course there's 2 ways they can do the parallel runners. Those runners can go around together, or they can go around individually and just kind of, see who's the first back.
Yeah, I mean, of course you can.
I guess it
work
depends
together.
on the standard of your athletes and how experienced they are. Let's have a look at listen to one of the leading first leg runners. Well, you were chuckling through that. I don't speak any Swedish, or not much anyway, so you'll have to translate for me.
It's a pity because if you would speak any Swedish, you would understand that it was the stereotype of a northern, like a north living.
Okay.
He was very calm.
That was Frans Persson from the local club.
Exactly. So he's from Skellefteå, and he was really calm and talking slowly. But they asked him about how special it is to run on home side, and of course, it was very special for him. He's also said that might be a few more runners running for the club now when it's so close. So they have a bigger team. Then he was asked what he is going to do after it, and he said he will travel home.
Oh.
So he won't really follow the relays coming. So I hope you won't do the same. Or the ones watching the relay here, they're at home anyway. But and then the tip, maybe an advice for runners later on: check the numbers at the controls. There are really many controls out there. And he also said it wasn't too difficult. But of course, I mean, he's a 16-year-old. Maybe the technical level for 16 years is a bit easier than they are used to, so he thought it could have been a bit more difficult.
Yeah, they said it's going to be like a what they call orange level, which is about for a 14-year-old. So yeah, if you're 16, then you've been running that level for a couple of years. Here's the leaders then. This is the second TV control, and this looks like a change in the lead then.
We definitely have one. Now we have a Finnish double in the lead, Rasti Kurika and the Helsingin Suunistajat. Lauri Lakkanen and Johannes Orhanen for the two Finnish teams.
So only the three then at the moment.
We even had three Finnish teams. VH Jättala for Suuntui Veskilä.
Det börjar normalisera sig lite grann. Men det här är mer normaliserat tempo. Jag tycker det var bra tryck. Även här nu på andra, men det var extremt bra tryck på första. Där gick det undan. Det tjeckiska laget där som var i ledningen.
Och
har det rullat en minut?
Okay. We have a gap here.
Another minute again. All changed.
But we're still waiting for the Czech team.
Yeah.
And
here's Dora Tuna.
Frölunda. Berg, just outside.
Oh, this is the Czech team.
Yes.
Exactly.
Well equipped with some sun protection on the head. Just about a minute.
Heavy as well. And now we have this group, Calvin and Rusty.
So we already had both of the runners for Suuntui Veskilä, so both of them are doing a good job here. Most of the other teams only had one runner so far, of course. And now we have a big group coming here again.
Ja, precis. Då kan man säkra upp
lite grann. 20 within 2 minutes.
Lite olika taktiker här. Med flera löpare. Vi har ju suttit här och sett första 6 löpare komma och gå. Och några har utbildat fötterna. Lite stenigt i botten.
I love how you can really hear the sound of the shoes on the rocks. I mean, it's just... yeah, very special as they come all the way through. So 23 teams through now, 2 minutes, and everything obviously spreading out a lot more. And what will these juniors be and youth runners be experiencing on the weekly in terms of their weekly club training? And you have quite a big club, but what's your kind of youth training setup like?
I mean, it depends very much on the club. If you're in a smaller club, I think that you will have the club trainings and everyone will show up to that club training. The bigger clubs, they have special days where the youth runners will train because, I mean, you have a clubhouse, but the capacity for having, I mean, if you have the very big clubs, you have between 50 and 100 elite runners training there on like the weekly trainings. And add to that another 50 to 100 youth runners, then you can't take it at the same time. It's going to be too many people if you also want to build up this community, maybe have some food afterwards. It's just not possible. So the bigger clubs, I guess, many of them will split it up, that they have this youth group training on one day, and then you have the elite runners training another day. And then, of course, you try to get them together at days, like at the weekends. You every now and then you try to have trainings together in order to get this community throughout the whole club. You book some travels where you go to competitions, maybe bigger competition like this one, TU Milan. You go everyone together and try to include them, because you don't want to. It's a difficult thing to include them, but still be able to get these weekly trainings to work. And on the one side, you want to focus, you want to give them kind of the playful the fun trainings that have a bit of another approach compared to the elite runners, but at the same time you want to show them how the club works from the lowest age to the elite runners. So it's a thin line. You have to find a way there.
Yeah, here's our leaders then. Helsingin-Sinnerstadt just ahead there. It's the two Finnish runners, I think, or even three. The three who we saw through first, all still together towards the end of this second leg, I think. And a big gap as we look back towards the Alpine ski track for the next runner. You can see there's a lot of girls particularly warming up for the next leg. So the next leg is slightly shorter, so it's 2.8 kilometers, expecting about 17 minutes, although it looks like everybody's running kind of a bit quicker than we expect. There's no forking on the third leg at all, and it's also slightly easier as well. So across the four legs, you've got to have two girls. The last leg must be a girl as well. So we will see all the teams ending there. Here's the leading team. Here's Helsingin-Sinnerstadt on their way in now towards the finish. And quite a long run in towards the arena, and a lot of people expecting now.
So we have Sunto Jyväskylä. We have Helsingin-Sinnerstadt and Rasti Kurika, Villo Jättala, Lauri Lakanen and Johannes Orhanen coming to the finish here.
Here they are then, into this arena, and
Is Lauri Lakanen in the leads.
The music gets louder, building this atmosphere. They go around the hairpin bend. They got a punch to finish, but a great race here, a great run from Helsingin-Sinnerstadt to catch up quite a few. You can see climbing 3 places there. Sunto Jyväskylä climbing 7 places there. I'm going to look for our big climbers today, and I think it is, the 3 Finns are climbing 11 places. So great running for Finland on this second leg. They're going to grab the maps and hand over to the next runners. In fact, I can see a pair going out there on the third leg. I think that's for Sunto Jyväskylä.
I can see them very satisfied, maybe even working together a little bit, which is totally fine. Of course, on the second leg, you don't have to decide the race there, but you can make a difference early out in the competition.
Here's the next runners coming through. So again, you can just looking back, that gap is probably still going to be, it's probably going to be over a minute now that those top 3 have ahead of the other ones, but it's all very, very close. Big club cheers as the next runners make their way in towards this finish. Oh, and a bit of a sprint out here for the actual line and for the last control. Snatching a Linköping's in there as well.
You can see a few of the teams here really had great runs. 46 positions for Linköping's OK.
That is very impressive, and all of these ones who've been through, they've all been climbing positions. I think we've just got the Czech West team in here now. running in the baseball cap, so they handed over in the lead. So going to go into about 7th, 8th place. Load more teams coming through as well to make that handover. And this is a reminder, this is the third leg. This is going to be a shorter one, 2.8 kilometers, no forking, slightly easier as well. Cora second team. Okay, Cora in as well. And I think these are a couple of runners that will maybe go around together in the same club as well. They're handing over. Got to grab your attention of the incoming runner, especially as you kind of switch off after getting all the controls. You've done the hard bit, supposedly.
Also got Halden to the finish, lost 13 positions here. Had a good start into the second leg, but lost time on the second half. Kind of the same for Järla as well.
And with 2 boys, 2 girls, are you not at all surprised to have mostly the 2 boys running the first 2 legs? Not all the teams have done it, but it looks like most of them have.
I mean, in the end, it won't really matter too much. Maybe in this age, sometimes the difference isn't too big. So if you have a very strong girl running this one, doesn't have to mean that she will lose a lot of time.
More shouts from this arena then as clubs spot their runners in, and it's kind of designed to make this noise really work. A load more runners just come through the passage to go around towards this line now, and we're halfway through then this relay. We've already had some of the first leg runners heading out. So some of the third leg runners heading out. Then we've only got 1 TV control at this point. Not sure how much you're able to hear from that. It's quite a quiet interview, but Lauri Lackinen just kind of explaining, maybe surprised by how many trails and things there were out on the course.
It's kind of the same as we had on the first leg. Maybe for the older runners here, it's on the easy side when it comes to the orienteering technique. You can imagine, you see that there are many ski tracks, just it's close to the city. It's the closest area to the arena. Might be a bit easy for them. Talking about big clubs, Helsinki and Sunnistad really is one of the bigger clubs in Scandinavia, so they for sure have had a good travel here with many buses and many teammates. So, yeah. Big club.
Oh, and it would have been hard to select their team, to be honest, right?
Definitely. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, when you've got to try and pull together a team from, you know, tens of juniors. Yeah. Do they tend to have selection races? Is it just based on known form? Do you have, I mean, those people making the decisions, that's got to be very tough.
I don't think they have specific selection races, but of course you follow the competitions and then you see, I mean, you have a feeling about who is, about the strength of your runners, and you have a feeling about how good they are. In the end, of course, if two runners are very similar here in this kind of relay on the second and third leg, you can still put in both of them, but it is a tough thing, and it's not always easy. And then, I mean, you will have, in many teams, you will have the case that one runner in the second team is faster than one runner in the first team, and it's almost impossible to set up a perfect team.
Absolutely. Here's the leading third leg runner through, and it still is Helsingin-Sundstad leading there, then Rasti Kurika into second place. So as it was at the changeover.
Da Sauso för Helsingin Suunnistajat, Siri Latva Hirvelä för Rasti Kurika. We have another team from, I think it's Helsingin Suunnistajat, so this is the second runner, their team, not making any difference on the result list. Lehtinen. So the Veskilä, still 3 Finnish teams in the top.
You could see those runners, some approaching through the forest, I think some approaching from the track. The track is just kind of behind the camera position.
And I mean, it was kind of perfect. You could see it in Helsingin Suunnistajat. You had one runner, maybe with a bit more of an attacking orienteering style, coming straight to the control. The other one taking the safe route around. That's exactly how we want to have it, because you have this backup of the runner that goes maybe a bit more safe than the other one.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see some of the next runners through then. Again going more direct.
Snäppringe from Sweden, first Swedish team. Then we have Halden back into top 5. Halden, Jel Koll, Sögne och Sondka. Songdalen, now I got it right. It's hard with those smaller clubs. We're not, as I said, I mean, those names don't appear in the result list in a position that we are used to commentate on them.
No, not when we're used to commentating on World Cups, World Championships, things like that. Okay, Linne, I think they're climbing a little bit as well. And now a bit more of a gap as well. So 1.5 kilometers around this course.
So we have to check team now. 13th position. I haven't seen many of the teams running around on the path.
No.
Now we got another team coming from the left into the picture. The one here, slightly different route choices.
Yep, that was Calavan Rasti.
Can also see someone going on the right there in the picture, maybe heading a bit too far up in the slope.
Yeah, maybe this is the person who was a little bit too high. Checking your control codes though.
But I mean, she was the second runner for the club, so it didn't really matter. She had the backup in front of her.
Yeah, and that's actually maybe a big thing about relieving the pressure, because I'm sure club coaches, parents will be thinking a lot about how do you get the right amount of pressure on these athletes. You know, a little bit of pressure, you know, kind of pushing some, a little bit of performance, but you definitely don't want to go overboard, and it's a really fine line to walk.
And especially if you think about it, not all of the runners here are 16-year-olds, so it's you have younger runners as well. It's a tough thing. I mean, everyone who started orienteering or has been running, even in elite orienteering, if you have a bad run at the relay, it's really not a good feeling to face your club mates after you run, and it takes a bit of a way of maybe. I mean, you have two chances. Then maybe the other one has had a good run, and then you're off the hook, kind of. Or then both of you had a bad run, and you have someone to share your anger or disappointment with. So it's definitely good for the competition, I think.
And will a lot of the, you know, coaches and parents have had their main, their main job this morning? Has that been about actually taking the pressure off?
I think it's. The main job this morning is to take the nerve, to take away the
nerves.
Yeah, the nerves.
Distraction techniques, you know, all of those kind of things.
I mean, it's all about fun. It really is, and I think that it's always when you talk about coaches here, it's something. I mean, it's someone. It sounds so professional, but I think most of the coaching here is to help them to not lose the fun. With this new situation and everything, it's an important part of the coaching.
So those are the top teams through towards the last control, I think. Very shortly we'll see them through into this arena. And here it is, the fourth leg runner for Helsingin Sunnestad is ready and waiting there. 10:35, and obviously she'll have seen a little bit of her other runners on the screens there, know that they're going to be really close towards this. But that's a picture of focus there, I think.
And of course it's only one runner now on the fourth leg again, so no backup runner for the anchor man or anchor woman on the last leg.
So yeah, we're looking at the teams in yellow, so you can the teams other colours they're running early legs, so maybe their incoming runners haven't yet made it towards the finish. I think there's actually a ticker up in the arena showing how many teams have completed each of the legs. We've had 97 teams, I think, complete leg 2, if I'm understanding that graphic correctly. But here's the leading team.
It's Helsingin Sunnestad still. Ada Sauso. I think we should spot Rasti Kurika somewhere very soon as well.
Yeah, Siri Latva Hervala on that leg then. Here's an earlier leg runner as well, running in alongside.
You can see the different colors of the start number. So the third leg with this orange start number, and there we see the second runner from Rasti Kurika just a few meters behind.
You were talking to a friend about this bridge who suggested it was well constructed.
Very well constructed. A doctor, and she said she's often struggling when it's too steep, because then the risk for injuries is quite high. But this one was well constructed in her eyes.
I like to hear it. Not too steep, not many Achilles punch. But this is a really great run here from Helsingin Sunnestad, and Ada Sauso's had a fantastic one to maintain the lead then for her club with one leg to go. Now onwards towards the mat balls and doing the change over there. So you can see maintaining that position, and Rasti Kurika going up by 1 as well. And we're looking out for more orange numbers. So those are the third leg runners, are the ones in orange. Blue is the one from the previous leg. So lots of different
so we still have a double finish on first and second position, and it's only one leg left now. So we send out the last leg runners on this deciding fourth leg of this first relay on today's TU Mila. the gap. It's almost 1 minute now. So very convenient situation for these two teams here in the lead.
Yeah, still waiting for the third leg. It's a very healthy gap going into the last one, but the last leg is a little bit longer. It's back up to the difficulty we were talking about earlier.
The next runners coming.
Here we go.
And is it the mixed team from Norway? Maybe.
So that
I
is
think I remember this
10:32.
red jersey.
Yeah.
So these are the two of the runners together, I think. That's what we talked about. Either you can stay together or you split up. Maybe it wasn't a choice, but they ended up together in the very end here. Still, two teams at the changeover, and the gap is growing. Almost 2 minutes now.
It looks like that was Friday with those two runners coming in together. Alice Skovholt Bonnemer and Marit Ståle Snurfugd. But a big gap now here. Now we have the next few teams in. Yeah, quite a few teams running together.
This is Linné.
Okay, Linné. A really good run from her going up in the standings here.
8 positions on this third leg. You also have Okatur and Freidig, Stora Tuna, Kåre, second team. Really good race for the second team from Kåre. So the red jersey, it wasn't this mixed team from Norway we were talking about. I guess it was Freidig. Snettringe into 9th position. So very soon we have the top 10 positions all after 3 legs in this youth relay. I think here's the next runner coming. Might be the second runner as well. We have to wait and see. Snettring, I think it is, but behind it is Frölunda, the last team in the top 10. Almost 3 minutes behind, almost exactly 3 minutes.
So we have the top 2 teams basically together, and then a big group of 6 teams all very, very close together, vying for that third position then as well. So we just had the shortest leg of the relay. It didn't have any forking on it. We're going back again to the fourth leg. This one is forked. It's about 4.4 kilometers, expecting about 27 minutes. So it looks like they're running quicker than we have expected. And it must be a girl on this last leg as well. So load more of the teams coming into the changeover.
Have any company with other runners, or were you in the lead all the time?
Yes,
Have you made any mistakes, or has it been a perfect race? Is it your first time here in the
my second time.
You like it?
Yes.
And now you're in the lead for the last leg. Do you think about the chances to stay in the top?
Of course.
Okay, thank you all. Good luck.
Thank you.
The leader there in from the third leg. I'm not sure if you could hear any of that at home, but we count now 24 teams in towards the finish, and ever increasing as well. Again, we'll have 2 split controls on this fourth leg. And it's a Finland shootout at the moment.
And I mean, they've been running now for almost 6 minutes, so not very far to go to this first intermediate, to this first TV control on this very last and fourth leg in the youth relay.
No, we saw, I think the first, it's again at 1.3 kilometers around the course, and I think we saw the first teams through that in about 7 minutes after the first leg. So very, very shortly, I'm sure we'll see some of those leading runners in as well. A lot more, you can see some of those in the graphics, 17, 18, some of those teams really going up in the rankings as it's all change.
And you can see it's kind of a similar situation for the winners from last year, Göteborg and Majorna. Then they were very far behind on 23rd position as well, and ended up as the winner in the end. We'll see.
Their last leg runner from last year is in the Tiomila relay and the overnight relay, right?
Yes, so it's very... of course, there is still the chance. I mean, we talked about it. You can still, with the setup of the teams, with the women and men, if you how you split it up, it can be quite decisive for the preliminary results here.
And yeah, you could see the gap was 2 minutes down to that chasing group of 6. But 2 minutes is nothing really on this 4.4 kilometer course. It can be all change again. Of course, you can just see here, this is pretty much where the start control is. All of the teams know that. They've been able to see the diagram of the layout of all the arena and the camping and where all the facilities are. Some runners from OK Tier there, who I think we saw earlier in the broadcast, who've gone really much enjoyed their face paint. They seem to have had a good run as well.
They are in 4th position, so they really have something to cheer on.
They got lots to celebrate, exactly. But we expect to see our first teams through at the radio control very, very shortly. Okay, but we've got the leading team here after the third leg. You look very, very happy. Did you enjoy that?
Yes, it was really happy. I was really happy, and I really like it.
And when your team came into the lead, when you set off on your leg, did the nerves go away, or did you still have some nerves there?
At first, I was a bit nervous, but when I just started running, it went away.
So we're looking here then at the first TV control for leg 4. So we hope to see your runner through. Tell us a little bit about who's on your last leg.
There's Marianne. He's really, really good orienteer, and I think she will do her best then.
Yeah, absolutely. We will see through. And what was the difficulty like? How easy or difficult was the course?
It was easy. There was a few controls. It was a bit harder.
And what are you going to do for the rest of the day and into the night? Are you going to stick around to watch the rest of your club in the 2 relays coming up?
Yes, and I will also run in the women's relay.
Well, good luck for that. Enjoy it, and congratulations. Your team are doing really well so far. Let's have a little look now. We'll swap you out and keep looking. This looks like, here it is. The team Helsingin Sinistad still here in the lead, and there's no other teammate around at the moment as well. So there they go. Okay. Okay, so back at this first TV control, this looks like the second place team. This looks like Basti Kurika, I think, here, but you can just see she's maybe not quite spotted the control.
Some hesitation here, and you can see the gap. It's only almost a minute, and you can see that she's just not seeing the control. This is a decisive moment for her. Now she got it. We also got to know some inside information about the strength of the last leg runner for Helsingin Suunnistajat.
Yeah, Ada Salso was really confident about her last leg runner. And yeah, confidence is well placed at the moment because that's a whole minute lead at the moment. That's pretty incredible.
So Sana Kuopala with a bit of hesitation here towards this TV control. Here we have the next team. Maybe it's...
No, that's an earlier leg runner. Yeah. So we're looking for ones in yellow. Here we go.
Itzukatur from Sweden.
They're climbing up the rankings, I think, here. You can see 4th place last year, or at least 4th ranked team here. I think maybe not all the teams who were running last year are here today.
Ljungberg, 1:33. She had it down 2 minutes and 18 seconds behind. So a good start for her.
Very good start for her. And actually, it was with those 6 teams who were all around about the same, managed to make a little bit of a gap. That's very significant, especially as we're now kind of heading past the 2-minute mark behind the leading teams. And here's this group. Here's Storatuna.
And Freidik.
There's a double punching there, I think, for one of those.
Yeah, Frölunda Kåre, second team, still very far up. The result list, Ukolinia, Linköping. Sundbyberg, Halden. This is the mixed team. Been following throughout this relay. They have been around the top 10 for a long time. So, but interesting, the gap after the change over 2 minutes, more than 2 minutes to this chasing groups behind from 3rd to almost 9th, 10th position, and now it's only 1.5 minutes.
And if you've just joined our broadcast, we don't have any GPS tracking for this youth relay. To not spoil anything, give away too much detail for the later relays still to come today and overnight, but also because there is pressure enough in this relay for these youngsters, all 16 and under, and adding that GPS is even more.
I mean, another thing is it would be very hard to decide which teams that should get this GPS device, so I think that might play a role here as well.
Yeah. We should try and find out how many GPS trackers there are here, so we can find out how many are being used for the Tiomila relay overnight, because that is one hell of an operation to make sure everybody is kitted out there. Still some good running by these athletes who just come through, looking very confident and very solid in their orienteering. And we're camping out still at the 1.3 kilometre mark. So the next point when we get to see them again will be at 2.3 kilometres. We'll get the next time check. And then a little bit of a bigger gap then before they get towards the end, before we see them back here finally in this ice hockey arena, which provides it's kind of it's a stadium really for all of the relays today. And
they have been running for another 5 minutes, Helsingin Suunnistajat. So very soon I think they will be at this second TV control, which we can see here in a very stony area, just on the top of a hill.
Yeah, it looks like all of our TV control positions have kind of changed around a little bit for each one. Gives us a little bit more of a sense of the terrain, of what it's like, and this bit's very visible. I mean, look at this runnability, visibility as well.
The runnability looks good, but if you get into these rocks, it slows you down a lot, and it's hard to read the map when you're in there, because it's tough to have coordination of running and read the map at the same time. So it leads to a little bit of stop and go, and I can tell you it's not only here there are stones. It's quite a stony area up here.
Okay.
We're looking for the green and white shirt for Helsingin.
You can almost sense the camera operator looking out and seeing if they can spot anybody out here in the terrain. This is the direction presumably they should be coming from. You can see some boulders in the distance as well.
Usually you can hear them first,
Yeah.
but here the visibility is so good, so maybe you can spot them first. Can't see anything. Running time, now a bit more than 6 minutes for this 1 kilometer, so still I think this is a reasonable time to have from the first to the second TV control. But the interesting thing will be to follow if the gap compared to Rasti, Kurika and Ukatur, is it still 1 and 1.5 minutes, or is it melting down to just a few seconds?
Wow. I feel like the tension's really building now as we wait for these first runners to come through.
You have to imagine to run this relay. You know that you're in the lead. She's perfectly aware of that, and you have the chance to take this relay to take the victory for your club mates. And everyone in the club is waiting at the stadium.
And this is, you know, that you say you can't win a relay on the first leg, but you can win a relay on the last leg.
It's the only leg you can win it on.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody else just needs to kind of keep in contention. Oh, I wonder if no.
No, but the cameraman is starting to hide a bit here, so that might be a sign that someone is getting closer. So let's see, at least we can say there are no other runners, or there seem not to be any other runners from other legs, so the runners we are gonna see was probably the runners from the last leg. So let's see, now it's about 8 minutes.
Yeah,
I think.
It is 8 minutes now.
She should show up very soon. She wants to keep the pace she had to the first TV control.
Can just sense a kind of searching through the terrain. I wonder if they're going to appear from a really strange direction. Oh, but what a gorgeous day.
I wonder who will show up first.
Yeah, I wonder who will show up first. This could be... It could be all change here on this control. It's a tricky one.
Yeah,
or tricky
really,
one in the middle.
It really is slow TV, but it's really exciting as well.
Hey, this is the youth relay with only 4 legs. We'll start talking about slow TV when we get to team relay later on tonight.
We have seen the same picture of a forest for about 2 minutes now, and still it's exciting.
It's still exciting, yeah.
So now I think it's.
I'm getting this
true. She really should show up soon, because I think that otherwise there will be a chance for the teams behind to get closer or even spot her.
I feel like I'm getting the true Tiomila experience from my first Tiomila, which is camping out in a forest waiting for some runners to come and building up the tension, see who's going to be the first one to make it there. I feel like it's proper, you know, proper Tiomila here. And the last, so it's coming towards 10 minutes since we last saw runners at the previous TV split.
I think there's a very good chance.
I'm starting to think they're on the wrong control, to be honest. Like the camera operator's on the wrong control, because you'd think you'd have seen runners through now.
But you don't have any punch yet at the pre-morning either. So very exciting. Now I think
well, it looks like we are on top of a hill, so maybe
change of direction for the camera operator.
Oh.
So let's see. Might have heard something from that direction. It's exciting. Is it gonna be the green and white, or is it this more
purple color?
Purple color, yes.
Or
is it
anybody
even
else?
In reds. Still no runner in the picture. Now.
Not
there.
No.
I've spotted someone. So let's see now. And not up there. There, down there.
Oh,
it's
red.
It can be Ukatur. Yes, indeed. I think that's. She's quite far down the hill as well. She has to climb a few meters. Well, it's good to be. I think it could be. I mean,
Isabella Ljungberg is the 4th leg runner from Ukatur.
Fredrik has a red shirt as well. Let's see, but she's too far down the hill as well.
Annika Lund Eikrem is the one with is the last leg runner for Friday. Ooh, who No, maybe we spotted somebody else.
If you look around here, it looks very similar everywhere. So here we have Helsingin Suunnistajat, I think.
I think you're right. It's the hair in the bun. So maybe...
She was not able to spot the control yet. And it is, when you're in this area, you can see that it looks quite similar everywhere. So if you're a bit off direction, it's not easy to relocate. There is Tur. Here's someone coming. And
I see a lot of OKT
they
people
are together at least and punching. They haven't spotted the
she has now.
She has spotted the camera. So it is OKT in the lead. She was 1.5 minutes behind at the first TV control, but she was also 2.5 minutes behind at the start. So a good run here, even though she did a few mistakes. Might open up for the chasing teams.
Yeah, Isabella Ljungberg, fantastic then, catching up for OKT. Marianne's Zernans not making as big a mistake there as well.
Another team, all in white. This is Halden.
Yeah, Halden, that's loads of...
I think she was in
that's a mixed team, actually. Yeah, that's Mille Vingstedt on last leg.
11th position, she was at the first TV control. So the whole group must have done a big mistake here.
Cora Hilmer Dahl in there.
All of these teams within 1 minute. And
we haven't got Rasti Kuraka yet either. We haven't got Stora Tuna, who were in 4th. And we've seen Fredrik as well. Here's Fredrik.
Yeah. Traffic's with a bit of problems with the runners with the same time. Here is
IFK.
Göteborg.
Here's Stora Tuna in the yellow. So dropping down from 4th.
Göingarna as well with the mixed team. Hästveda, Stora Tuna, Sunta Jyväskylä, Linköping, Tunda. This is Anguniemen Ankuri from Finland. 35.
And the whole field just constricts again. Like if there's anything can now happen still. We're only halfway through the course.
At the start we had 135 down to the 3rd position. Now we have 135 down to position 15. And there are more teams to come. I think this is Kalevan Rasti. In red and black.
It's just the other side of the boulder and you're coming up the hill as well. It's such a difficult control.
Oh, it took a linje. Sorry for that.
Med den upplösningen från den här 50-kontrollen som vi verkligen fick se lite dramatik. Åtminstone på Isabella, så vi såg sen och jag ser som så här.
So we will wait, I think, and see some more teams through this control because it's going to be a while before we see the leaders towards the kind of pre-warning control or towards the finish straight as well. But certainly Isabella Ljungberg for OKT and Marianne Zernant for Helsingin Suunnistajat. Those leading teams.
Snapfinger. Also within 3 minutes. Here I think we have Rasti Kurika. She lost a lot of time, 3 minutes. But of course, I mean, if you do a mistake and it's in an area like this where it's hard to relocate, 3 minutes pass by quite quickly.
Yeah, very, very quickly. There's OKT. So they are the leading club. You can tell there's a few of them in the arena.
It was very nice to see when you sit here in this stadium and you can see that the runner is appearing on the screen and there's this group cheering. It's the scream coming from one of the supporter groups here. So.
And of course, there'll be even more people out on that run in towards this arena as well in the gorgeous, gorgeous sunshine. Those are the standings, though, after must have been some very tricky controls between 1.3 and 2.3 kilometers.
And I mean, basically, you can say it's 1.5 minutes down to 15th position. Everyone here is still a chance to win.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
We have seen how much that can happen on only 1 kilometers of running. So it's going to be exciting here. And here we're waiting at the skiing hill towards the pre-warning. So from here, it's just it's more basically just running down to the stadium. Let's see if we can see the red colors for Couture.
So remember, we're looking for runners with yellow numbers on. Those are the last leg runners. So it looks like we've got 139 teams back on leg 1, 136 teams back on leg 2, 112 teams have completed leg 3. So some runners still to head off. And
we are waiting for 2 teams that had a lead of about half a minute compared to the chasing group. So not very much. It's just a few seconds. If they just lose a few seconds, I think the group behind can spot them in the forest because the visibility is that good. Let's see, there is a runner coming to the right there. Not sure if it's from the 4th leg. I doubt it.
And somebody dropping down there just in the right of picture. But we wait at the control again.
No, it's not. It almost looks as if they expect them to come more down the hill here.
Yeah, on the previous leg they came from the left, coming down the hill. They might come a bit more across this time. But I'm sure everybody watching at home, everybody spectating is going to be looking for their runners, kind of waiting with a bit of tension. These are all different earlier runners.
The wrong colours here.
Yep. And we're looking for yellow numbers. And whether
looking for green and white or red. Or even one of the chasing groups, chasing teams, Halden in all white and Kokore in blue. Second team still up there. Very, very good performance for the second team.
Yeah. And will any...
Is there a team climbing up the hill there? This looks like Helsingin Sunistajat.
Yeah, I think you're right. It is.
Couture somewhere around because she definitely has to climb up.
Here, this is Netherlands.
Nydalen and IFK Göteborg.
Whoa.
It is definitely.
Hang on, this is all changed
so
here.
So it's Elsie Hördegård and it is Nydalen, Helene Kjele. So another change in the lead. And it looks as if IFK Göteborg has a very good speed here on the last meters or on these controls. But you have also seen other teams to come behind.
Whoa, all change here. This is incredible.
What do we get?
What is going on here? I don't know if we can see some of the other... Yeah, here's Halden. Cora there as well, maybe?
It's Frölunda, I think, in blue and purple.
We've seen, Halden Club as a mixed team as well in 3rd place.
Kåre, second team, Frölunda, Sunta Jyväskylä, Göingarna. So many teams now, 8 teams within 23 seconds, and IFK Göteborg with a small gap of 4 seconds compared to Nydalen and another 6 seconds compared to Göingarna and Hanna Josefsson.
But Elsie Hördegård looked like she was absolutely flying, and so she is here. This is the leading team then. IFK Gothenburg, IFK in towards the finish, and she's taken a little gap ahead of Netherlands, Helen Sheila,
and the team are here. Waiting. What a final of this youth relay.
So she pulled up 17 places between the last TV control and the pre-warning. This is incredible orienteering, and you can see some of her teammates running alongside, some of the club mates running alongside here. This will be the winner, though, of this youth relay.
She went out more than 4 minutes behind, taking her team all the way from position 18 to the victory today. Another one for Gothenburg, but now it's another team.
IFK Gothenburg, fantastic running here from Elsie Hedegaard. You said it, Jonas, about how many minutes she was able to catch up on this last leg. And she is able to go and celebrate with her team and punch that finish. Congratulations then to IFK. This is the second place team here, I think. No?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Göingerna and Hestveda and Daniel Nydalens into third position, all within 10 seconds. And you can see how many positions all of the teams here were able to climb on this very last leg. And a brilliant performance as well of the second team from Kåre and all the other teams now.
Sunda Jyväskylä catching up 13 places there as well. There's the mixed team from Halden who've just seen cross the line too. Have we seen the Helsingin Sundsjats team through, or was have they still got the last places to go? Frölunda through towards the finish. This might be OK Tier coming around the corner now as well. So was in the lead, but some mistakes must have been made towards the end. And you can see IFK just celebrating there with the team photo.
What an exciting last leg we have seen here. Many changes throughout this last few kilometers. It was kind of tricky orienteering in the end anyway. I've heard from the runners before. Of course, the only runners we have been talking to were the ones that had a good race as well. Yeah. So it's maybe a bit influenced by this, but it seemed to be a bit more tricky on this last leg. Many runners struggled. One of them, Helsingin Suunnistajat, coming to the
here she is, just coming into the finish now, was in the lead, starting to lose in that lead. But here's a few casualties here. Friday Storatuna, as well as Helsingin Suunnistajat, who was leading after the second and after the third leg as well, collapsing to the floor, many of them at the end of this relay. It seemed like not very much drama on legs 2 and 3, at least at the top teams, and then suddenly it all happens on the last leg, right?
I was about to say, it's kind of disappointing because we didn't see any drama. It was so well performed by anyone, and then, I mean, it just ends up, all the pressure is like funneled to the last leg runner, and then it's such a difficult thing to kind of have this lead and defend it towards the finish when you know that you have the chance to take it home, to take the victory. And we have seen that today. We have had Helsingin Suunnistajat in the lead. We have had Tur in the lead, but in the very end it was the team starting behind more than 4 minutes. It was not only IFK Göteborg, it was also the other teams, Göingerna, Nydalens. They were able to catch many positions on this last leg. So great performances by Elsie Hedegaard, Hanna Josefsson and Helena Schele, taking their teams to the top 3 today.
And I guess, those runners must have been, they knew kind of what time they set off, how far behind the leaders they were. I guess it's about holding your nerve when you realise that you're kind of catching people, and maybe other people have made mistakes, and trying not really to think about it too much and just do your own race.
I mean, maybe it's a bit of an advantage. I can't imagine that the IFK Göteborg really knew that they were in the lead, because they started in 21st position. So even if you see many teams, you can't count it to 20. So maybe she knew that she is in a top position, but maybe not fighting for the victory, and that might be an advantage in the very end, because you don't get the same nerves as Helsingin Suunnistajat got when she knew that she is about to defend this first position, or tries to defend the first position.
Yeah, all you got to do is do better orienteering and run faster than the people you're around, and see how that can take you.
It's so much easier to focus on your own run, to be motivated by all the others around you when you pass them, compared to when you. I mean, at the time Helsingin Suunnistajat did this first mistake, she must have done quite a big mistake, but she's still in the lead, so she has no idea about how big the gap is, and she has to defend it. loses a bit in self-confidence, and that makes, of course, the orienteering on the last part of the leg much more difficult.
You see the Czech West O team leading team after leg one. Very kind of up and down team, actually. We saw them going up and down all over the place, but ultimately, last leg, climbing 21 places up to 17th is very impressive. And looking out from our vantage point in the arena, we can see the winning team getting congratulated by a lot of their club mates as well. Big celebrations, and it might not be the only celebrations for IFK today. Big favourites in the relays coming up as well. And then, you know, when we think there's 140, 139 teams out there, 140 teams I think we've seen, you look back and some days you go, oh, I'm outside the top 20, that's not really great. These teams have made it inside the top 20. That, when you're thinking about all the teams that are entered today, these are still incredible placings here.
And I mean, you can also say we have seen 4 legs and they're still within 6 minutes, so they didn't lose a lot of time. The time gap here, if you break it down to every leg, then you have 1.5 minutes. It's not a very big difference. But then, of course, we have seen big changes on the last leg. So, yeah, it might have was kind of leading towards the situation where it was pressed together again in the result list. But still, I mean, 25 teams within 6 minutes. That's a close race.
Yeah, that's pretty good. As this is a team from Sundsvall.
A great start into this Tio Mila weekend. Very exciting race here at the youth relay. And as you mentioned before, IFK Göteborg with the first victory. And I mean, this gives a good feeling to the club. And you said it, there's more to expect from this club, definitely. Especially in the women's relay, they're maybe the biggest favorite of all of them. And of course, they come back now. The youth runners, they were able to spread some happiness in the club, and that's a good thing, of course.
And will the rest of their teams maybe be watching from their accommodation, maybe watching from around here, be able to get a little bit of share some of the love?
I mean, we will have the women start in about 2 hours, so I think the first women, they are here already. They maybe planned it in a way so that they can see this last leg. The men, it's very different. Usually you would like to come out to the relay and get some kind of, take a bit from the emotions, take a glimpse at the arena, how is the running going. So you want to come here, you don't want to do it too late, because if you're running in the night you want to sleep at around 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But that, yeah, definitely they will be, I mean, we have seen a few runners from Fredrikstad sitting on the in the arena here and following the race, so definitely you have club mates from both the men's and the women's relay here supporting the youth runners, and kind of get to see the arena in action.
Yeah, get a feeling for, just having visualized what to expect, so it's not a surprise at any other time. Just helps things run a little bit more smoothly, to be honest, as well. But yeah, they're not going to want to spend too much. Those runners in the Team Mila relay are not going to want to spend too much time here. They want to be relaxing and, not expending too much energy.
It depends very much on what kind of runner you are. As I said, I think the women's race, I mean, it will start very soon. The later starters, they want to, I would say the top teams, they want to stay a bit longer in the accommodation, eat lunch there, have some time, be able to sit or even lie in your bed for a while and just relax. But the early starters, like the first leg runners, they might want to get out here, get a bit of the atmosphere, It's very individual. It also depends on like the longer legs. You definitely don't want to stand a lot during the day because it makes you a bit of tired. The weather's quite fine, so that shouldn't affect too much. You don't want to stand too much in the sun, though. It's so many factors, and it's very individual. A few of the runners need it. A few of the runners, they don't want to show up at the arena at all.
Yeah.
It's very, very different. I personally, I prefer to get out here, take a look, maybe at the women's start, and then go back to the accommodation, follow the race there.
Elsie Hördegård. Grattis till segern.
Because then you can just
kan du beskriva sluttampen? Det var en stenhård kamp, såg det ut som.
Jo, alltså jag såg inte så många i början och sen så kom det fler fram och så tror jag de missade en kontroll där. Jag vet inte vilken det var, jag kommer inte ihåg, men och sen så sprang jag bakom där lite. Vi var en stor klunga och sen var det typ vid näst sista, eller den stenen i slalombacken. Då tog de flesta nervägval, så de sprang liksom nedanför branterna och tappade väldigt mycket på det. Och så körde jag och en annan tjej, vi körde här uppe liksom, och då var vi före till mål sen och så, ja.
Kan du beskriva känslan när du kom mot mål och visste att du var först?
Ja, det var jättejobbigt, jag höll på att dö typ. Alltså jag visste inte om jag skulle klara det, men jag bara körde. Ja, allt jag hade.
Vad hade ni för planer inför det här tävlingen då i Göteborg? Vi trodde att ni skulle kunna vara med och slåss om det, eller?
Ja, eller vi visste inte riktigt, men vi visste vi hade ju chansen. Det gick ju bra på stigtomta och så. Vi visste ju vi hade laget, men nej, det var många andra bra med, så vi var inte säkra.
Okej, och här har vi resten av laget. Från första i ordning framåt. Hur tyckte du att det var?
Ja, jag försökte bara hålla ihop ganska bra i början. Inte göra någon för stor boom. Och det kände jag ändå att det gick bra. Det gick lite till fel gaffel på en kontroll. Men annars var det ändå ett stabilt lopp.
Och terrängen, vad tyckte ni om den då? Det är lite skillnad mot Göteborg kanske?
Ja, det var svårt och jobbigt med var mycket backar, men det var inte jättemycket skoglöpning. Det var mest stig nu. Men vi springer natt också, så då blir det kanske lite svårare. Ja.
Vad tror du segerreceptet var? Vad är det som har gjort att IFK Göteborg har vunnit det här?
Jag tror det har varit mycket motivation. När Gimoko vann förra året så behövde vi visa att vi var bättre än liksom ärkerivaler. Så det ligger mycket timmar bakom. Och sen gröten till frukost också var väldigt viktig.
Jaha, ja. Och vad skulle du säga, hur ska ni fira det här nu i Göteborgsgänget?
Ja, alltså det blir väl... vad sa du? Ja, guldbit såklart. Det blir ju klassisk teamvila vinst så. Ja, mycket fina alltså.
Härligt! Grattis Göteborg! Då får vi ha en trevlig hemresa sen. Då blir det full fart i Göteborg i klubben. Vad heter det? Kamratgården?
Ja.
Ja, tack ska ni ha. Bra jobbat!
There you go. Confirmation then of the results. IFK Gothenburg, IFK Göteborg finishing in the lead, just 8 seconds in the end. It was all change on that last leg, but congratulations to the team for winning that youth relay. All right, we're going to take a break then for a while, for a couple of hours before we are back for the women's relay. Just under 2 hours time, so we're going to get some coffee, we're going to get some food, we're going to get for a rest. We're in for the long haul.
We highly recommend you to do the same.
Yes.
Get some food in front of the TV.
Get a nice comfy sofa.
Exactly, and then just enjoy the rest of the day, because we are going to see much more action today.
Yeah.
And tomorrow.
And tomorrow, exactly. We're in here for the long haul. We hope you're going to join us most of the way, even if not for all the way. We're going to be powering through our energy drinks through the night. But we'll be back in another couple of hours for the next relay here at Tiomila. We'll see you then.
See you then. Yep.
They buried Yes. Ja, då hälsar jag er hjärtligt välkomna till invigning av 10-mila i Skellefteå och prisutdelning för ungdomskaven 2023. Jag lämnar här med ordet över till Ola Manberg, tävlingsledare för årets 10-mila.
Ja, kära publik och varmt välkomna till helgens 10-mila tävlingar. Vi började i torsdags med Swedish League ute på Rönnbäcken med Umeå OK som arrangör. Och igår var det sprint med OK Renen som stod för det arrangemanget. Och nu i helgen så hälsar Skellefteå Orienteringsklubb och Långvikens Orienteringsklubb välkomna till 10-mila 2023. Vi vill också från hela arrangörsstaben önska ett stort lycka till. Vi är 300 arrangörer här som kommer att se till så att det här blir ett kanonarrangemang. Så stort lycka till allihop!
Ja, och nästa på tur är då som invigningstalare från Skellefteå kommun, fritidsnämndens ordförande Marie Bergslycka.
Tack för det. I egenskap av fritidsnämndens ordförande och som medborgare här i Skellefteå kommun är jag superglad att 10-mila hålls just här. Det blir vad jag förstår den nordligaste platsen som 10-mila kommer att hållas på. Och de som ser fram emot nattens orientering kommer ju få kanske en lite ljusare natt än vad man är van vid annars. Jag är novis i såväl mitt förtroendeuppdrag men också när det gäller orientering. Men vad jag har fått lära mig är att orientering är en väldigt stor rörelse med ungefär 88 000 medlemmar inom orienteringsförbundet. Och här på 10-mila idag har vi 602 lag som deltar och ungefär 5 000 deltagare, vilket jag tycker är supermäktigt. Vissa av er har redan fått bekanta er med den jättefina terräng vi har här på Vitbergsområdet. Och er som ännu inte har fått göra det så önskar jag er ett stort lycka till och jag hoppas att ni verkligen njuter under er tävling. Jag vill också passa på att tacka föreningslivet och alla ni eldsjälar och volontärer som får en sån här stor tävling att fungera. Men också tar emot alla nyfikna nybörjare ute i föreningslokalerna. Jag är övertygad om att er fina sport kommer fortsätta locka nya deltagare. Jag är av den övertygelsen om att naturupplevelser ger oss så otroligt mycket som människor, oaktat i vilken form. Jag vet, preaching for the choir. Med det sagt, ett stort lycka till och med det förklarar jag 10-mila invigt.
Du gamla, du fria, du fjällhöga nord. Du tysta, du glädjerika sköna. Jag hälsar dig värnaste land upp på jord. Din sol, din himmel, dina ängder gröna. Din sol, din himmel, dina ängder gröna. Du tronar på minnen från fornstora dagar. Då är att ditt namn flög över jorden. Jag vet att du är och du blir vad du var. Ja, jag vill leva, jag vill dö i Norden. Ja, jag vill leva, jag vill dö i Norden.
Ja, och då går vi vidare till prisutdelning i ungdomskaven 2023. Och som hjälp här som prisutdelare så har vi Martina Sundberg, ordförande i 10-milaföreningen, och Marie Bergslycka, då fritidsnämndens ordförande i Skellefteå kommun. Och på en 10:e plats har vi Anjanen Nankori. På 9:e plats OK Tyr, lag 1. På en 8:e plats, där har vi Frölunda OL-laget. Och på 7:e plats från grannlandet Norge, ett kombinationslag bestående av Haldens SK, IL Koll och Sogne och Sognedalen OK. Och på en 6:e plats, länge med uppe i täten. Och det var ju flera finska lag som krigade långt upp i täten, långt in i sträckorna. Och på 6:e plats blev Sunta Jyväskylä. På en 5:e plats, Stockholmsklubben Sundbybergs IK-laget. På fjärde plats, OK Kåre, lag 2. Då har vi topp 3 kvar. Och på en tredje plats, bästa norska lag, Nydalens SK, lag 1. Och på en fin andra plats, ett kombinationslag, FK Göingarna Hästveda OK. Och segrare av ungdomskaven 10 mila 2023 hela vägen från Sveriges västkust upp till Norrland och Skellefteå. Det är IFK Göteborg!